Good evening and welcome to the November Mighty Blaze pop-up book rec party of one. My name is Mary Weber O'Malley and I am here with some November titles that I loved. We are thrilled to have you here. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Mighty Blaze, we are a collection of volunteers that came together at the beginning of COVID to connect readers and authors with the books that were coming out. And we've since expanded. We have many shows going on every week. So you can go to our website and sign up for our newsletter so you never miss an event. Our interviews are all held live on Facebook and YouTube, and then you can find past interviews on YouTube. And we also have a podcast which features some of our past interviews. So those are all the ways to connect with the Mighty Blaze. And usually there are a number of us on the show sharing the books we're excited about. But tonight, I was the only one available, so I'm the one you got. I'm going to put into the chat all of the books that I am talking about tonight. Before I get started with my titles, I just want to check in, see how everybody's doing. It's been a brutal couple of days, and I hope that everybody is practicing some self-care. I know bookstores everywhere have put the word out that they have safe spaces for you. So if you need somewhere to go and spend some quiet time, just amongst the books, bookstores are there for you. And I hope that you are taking care of yourselves. So all of the books I'm talking about tonight can be found on the Mighty Blaze bookshop page, and that is a way that you are able to support Mighty Blaze. I'm putting that into the chat right now. So do stop in and grab a title from them to keep Mighty Blaze's fire blazing. If you have questions, please put them into the chat. If you want to know something more about a book I talk about, put that into the chat. I'll also remind everybody, if you listen to audiobooks, that A Mighty Blaze also can be supported through Libro.fm. Libro FM is the alternative to that other audiobook streaming service. Libro is a social purpose company putting social causes above profits. It costs the same as that other streaming service, but we have never sent anyone into space. You get book recommendations from booksellers like me, not an algorithm. Your credits never expire, and you can listen across devices. So if you listen to audiobooks, please go check out Libro.fm and choose A Mighty Blaze as your bookshop to support. So all of that being said, now I want to get into my November book recs for you. I'm going to start with a couple of fictional titles. This first one is not a light book. This is pretty intense romance, but it's not a romance book. It's a fictional book that features a romance. I would call it, for those of us of a certain age who might remember 9.5 Weeks, which came out, I don't know, like 30 years ago. This book made me feel, gave me a lot of the same feel as that. And it is Rosenfeld. And it is a novel by Maya Kessler. It is a grown-up love story for grown-ups. And this is about a young 36 young. Okay, I guess it depends on where you are yourself in life, but a 36-year-old filmmaker who knows what she wants when she sees it. And when she meets Teddy Rosenfeld, an antagonistic older CEO, she goes for the juggler. An electrifying encounter in a bathroom stall after their first meeting only serves to whet Noah's appetite, and despite Teddy's rejections, she's exhilarated by the challenge. The deeper they get, the more they realize that their romance is very superficial. So there's a lot of, do we want to take this to the next level? Do we keep it where it is? It is very sexually explicit. So if that is not your jam, you might want to pass on this one. But it was definitely, the story is completely compelling, and all of the graphic parts serve the story. So that is Rosenfeld by Maya Kessler, book 1. My next book, we're going to go the other direction now. We're going to go into something light. This has the same flavor as Lessons in Chemistry as far as the dog, Six. I loved that character. This book is from a pony's point of view, and it is Pony Confidential by Christina Lynch. Oh, hello, Robin from Idaho. I'm really glad you're here. Pony Confidential is a one-of-a-kind mystery. With heart and humor, a hilariously cranky pony must save the only human he's ever loved after discovering she stands accused of murder and he knows she is innocent. This is about a pony who's been passed from owner to owner like an adorable stomach virus. Fed up, he busts out and goes on an action-packed cross-country mission to reunite with Penny, the one little girl he's always loved. Pony Confidential. My bookseller friend, Pamela Klinger-Horn, read this and she was just raving and raving, and that meant that I had to check it out as well. This is a lovely, full of heart, just wonderful, heartwarming novel, Pony Confidential. If that's what you need right now, you need your heart warmed, then that is your book. If you can't read an entire book right now because your attention is just not there, and I get it. I am completely I'm forgetful. I am distracted. So reading a hefty novel is a little rough right now. I love collections of essays. Love, love, love them. And this is not only a great read for yourself, but if you have a Gilmore Girls fan in your life, this is a wonderful gift book. This is Life's Short, Talk Fast, and it's edited by Anne Hood. It is a collection of essays from multiple authors who are fans of Gilmore Girls and wrote essays around the series. So I'm just going to read a little portion of what Tracy Minkin had to say. It took me 14 years to discover Gilmore Girls, but 18 minutes into the pilot episode to discover a girl reading Moby Dick for fun. A girl who hauled books around with her, who read them on park benches, read them standing in line, read them on buses and at the breakfast table. A girl who read everywhere. This book is filled with essays like that about mothers and daughters, about adult mothers and their senior mothers, daughters and grandmothers. All of the things that happen in this series are written about in this lovely collection. Life's Short, Talk Fast, a collection edited by Anne Hood. And Robin, you're asking if it's on par with Remarkably Bright Creatures. I would say yes. If you are a fan of that, then you will absolutely love Pony Confidential for sure. So I've given you kind of heavy fiction. I've given you light fiction. I've given you a collection of essays. And now, because again, some of us are struggling, and that is a-okay. But I also have this, and this is another phenomenal gift book, great coffee table book. Years ago, I discovered the book, The Hidden Life of Trees, and I was never the same. It is by Peter Wohlben, who is, I believe he's a German forester. And he wrote about trees in such a way that I've never looked at a tree the same way. He wrote about how trees nurture each other, how they help one another. If there's a tree that gets damaged and is struggling to get nutrients, another tree nearby will kind of send the root system over to help the struggling tree. It talks about how if there is a grove of trees and a giraffe comes and begins eating the leaves from one tree, that tree will send out a distress signal to the nearby trees, who will excrete bad tasting something or other into the leaves. So when the giraffe moves over there, the leaves don't taste good anymore. I mean, there's just, this book is filled with these things. And now we have the graphic adaptation, The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlben. This is just full of beautiful, beautiful illustrations, and the entire story from Hidden Life of Trees. Like I said, this is an incredible gift book. If you have a young person in your life that's interested in nature, this would be a great gift book for them. This is a wonderful, like I said, a coffee table book. This is a great, it's maybe a little pricey for a hostess gift, but books make phenomenal hostess gifts. Not everybody drinks, and there are a lot of dietary restrictions anymore, but nobody's allergic to books, and you can find books like this that would be wonderful for pretty much any reader you know, and you can bring that. So The Hidden Life of Trees, a graphic adaptation, is my next title. And I have all of these titles. I did put them in the chat. I'm going to, let's see if I can do this. Nope. I was just going to see if I can easily go back, and it's not going to let me do it. Well, if you scroll up to the early comments, you'll see all of these titles there. And they should all be in our bookshop stall as well, bookshop.org. All right, that was a really big book. We're going to move aside and go to a couple of physically small books that are completely packed with magic and wonder and beauty. And the first one is The Serviceberry. This is by Robin Wall Kimmerer. She is the author of Braiding Sweetgrass, which I believe remained on the bestseller list for, I don't know, almost a decade. They came out with a young people's version. It's a stunning, wonderful, magical book. Excuse me. And The Serviceberry is abundance and reciprocity in the natural world. I was hooked from the very first paragraphs in this. Robin talking about how in a giving society, in a society where instead of buying and selling, we are giving and receiving, a reciprocal society. She talked about how if you pick the berries and give some to your neighbor, and then your neighbor bakes a pie and shares it with somebody else, these berries have moved through these people just as gifts. And that is different than going to the store and buying berries or going and buying a pie. This handing off, it changes everything, doesn't it? Um, I can remember moving into a new home and having a neighbor come by and they said, I just took these cookies out of the oven, and I wanted to welcome you to the neighborhood. That's just a very special exchange. And this book, like I said, it's a little book. There's so much wisdom and beauty in this book. She talks about Rebecca Solnit in her stunning book, A Paradise Built in Hell, describes how gift economies seem to arise spontaneously in times of disaster. When human survival is threatened, compassionate acts overrule market economies. People give freely to one another, and bonds of ownership disappear when everyone pools their resources of food and labor and blankets and solidarity. We're seeing a little bit of that right now, aren't we? People coming together to help each other heal, to pool resources, and to just be there for each other. It's a beautiful thing. This other quote that she talks about in this book, Margaret Atwood writes, "Every time a gift is given, it is enlivened and regenerated through the new spiritual life it engenders both in the giver and in the recipient. You can store meat in your own pantry or in the belly of your brother. Both have the result of keeping hunger at bay, but with very different consequences for the people and for the land which provided that sustenance." This just packed full of wonderful bits of wisdom like that. And Robin, your Buy Nothing group, yes, I have that too. I put everything in the Buy Nothing group. I try to keep things out of the landfill. I get from one of the publishers, they send me books in flapped, a nice sturdy book-sized flapped box. But they send these books individually in these boxes, and I get one or two a week. And I just can't bear the thought of putting all this cardboard in the landfill. And they're nice boxes. So I put them on Buy Nothing, and Etsy crafters and teachers who want to organize things in their classrooms and anybody who's ultra organized. I never have not been able to give these stacks of boxes away. It's a beautiful thing. So this book, I'm just going to read you a little bit from the back. As Indigenous scientist Robin Wall Kimmerer harvests service berries alongside the birds, she considers the ethic of reciprocity that lies at the heart of the gift economy. How, she asks, can we learn from Indigenous wisdom and the plant world to reimagine what we value most? Beautiful, beautiful, gentle reading. Another wonderful host gift. Absolutely wonderful gift for that. Great add-on gift. Great book to, if you have a book club and you do a holiday book exchange, this would be great for that as well. Just get at least 2 copies. You are going to want to hang on to one, and you will absolutely think of somebody right away that you'll want to share this with. My next little book is very dear to my heart, and this is from the author of Soul of an Octopus, The Hawk's Way, and the Hummingbird's Gift, Sy Montgomery. And now she has set her sights on the chickens. What the chicken knows. I have chickens, so when I saw this book, I knew right away I had to read it, and I fell in love with all of the, you do not have to own chickens to absolutely adore this book. It talks about the intelligence, how chickens can recognize, I think over 100 other chickens by sight, And yet, if a chicken goes away, they forget them immediately. That's a whole nother thing. How after only hours after leaving the egg, they are able to walk, run, and peck. Relationships are very important to chickens, hence the term pecking order. And this little book has little gems like in the sacred book of Hadith, the Prophet Muhammad tells us why roosters crow. They do so because they've seen an angel. The moment a cock crows, the holy man advises, is a good time to ask for God's blessing. And so is the first time your rooster goes on the attack. Uh, just charming, lovely, lovely story. She talks about Pickles, the special needs chicken. Just absolutely, there's a chicken that lived without most of its head for 18 months. Fascinating, fascinating. If you know somebody who loves animals, just a young person who is in that animal phase, this is a wonderful book. Again, another great hostess gift idea as well. And we are going to finish tonight with my final title, which is an old title with a fresh new look, and that is Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. This is the annotated edition. Anne beautifully opted to annotate this entire book. It's got all of the notes in her handwriting, what she would change, what she would leave the same, what she would add, why she wrote things. Tree, the intersection of childhood and adulthood, saying the same thing twice. She chooses not to see what's coming. Hair smells. It's, it's like being in Anne's head as you're rereading the book. So this is her, I believe, her #1 best-selling title. And I think it's the book that kind of knocked her into the stratosphere of being an internationally renowned author. And this book is just absolutely gorgeous. And another one that if you have somebody who's a huge reader in your life and you're like, I don't know exactly what they like to read, I promise giving them this annotated edition is a perfect gift idea. But this one is staying on my coffee table because I love to just pick it up, read a paragraph, and then read Anne's thoughts about it. It just, Anne's a hero to so many of us, especially booksellers. She's got this beautiful bookstore and sometimes has to fight to keep the titles in there. Book banning is only going to get worse, I fear. So we're going to fight back. We're going to fight back every way we know how. And Ann Patchett is helping us lead the way. So Bel Canto annotated edition is my final title for you tonight. So thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you for your comments. Great to see some familiar names here. And I hope you heard some titles that intrigued you and will have you going out to order them. If so, please support the A Mighty Blaze mission by getting them from our bookshop stall. If you're ordering them from the Big A Bookshop, has discounts as well. And Jeff Bezos does not need another cent from any of us. I know that to be true. So thank you very much. I loved bringing you these titles, and we'll see you again next month. Bye, friends.